Kevin Bowen here. Don't forget to listen to The Fan now on 93.5 or 107.5 FM. And check out our latest coverage online at 1075thefan.com.
More freaking kicker drama. Welcome to the life of the 2019 Indianapolis Colts. They look like a bad fantasy football roster right now with 3 quarterbacks and 2 kickers. That's the state of this team 4 weeks ago in the regular season. I'm Kevin Bowen back. Joey Molinaro wearing his black and gold, very proud after the Boilers dominated the Virginia Cavaliers last night in Mackey Arena. It is Thursday morning as we record. Adam Vinatieri is still a Colt. He's still on the 53-man roster, but he has another kicker alongside him on the 53-man roster, and he's hurt. Officially hurt, I should say. We got to start here, Joey, right?
Yeah, I'll steal a line from one of my favorite Christmas movies, 'Tis the Season. Like Cousin Eddie said, it's a gift that keeps on giving all year, and that's what the kicker situation has been for the Colts.
And this gift is filled with coal, because that's exactly what it's been for the Colts here in 2019. We'll see what today brings. You know, we probably are recording this when we shouldn't be recording it, because information might break sometime today. But what we know is this: Adam Vinatieri showed up on the injury report on Wednesday. First time he's been on it all season with a knee injury. He had a knee injury in August on his plant leg. I think I've said on this podcast numerous times, he's hurt. He's 46 years old. That's not shocking to me.
My knee's hurt, and I'm 26. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, thank you. Well, sorry that your knee's hurt, but 46-year-old people, any little injury, it affects things.
Yeah.
And we've talked about that a lot on this podcast. Joey, I don't know if you saw Frank Reich's quotes last night about
I did not.
This situation.
Fill me in.
He went on SiriusXM and said that basically the knee injury flared up in pregame warm-ups on Sunday. Vinny tried to kind of gut it out. Now they've taken some MRIs. Vinny actually practiced yesterday. He was limited. I watched him kick, and then all of a sudden he goes inside with a member of the rehab staff, and the Colts are weighing MRIs right now that will probably determine what the future holds for him here in 2019 with 4 games to go. But I'm like, wait. This happened in pregame warmups on Sunday? Why did he kick a 55-yarder? Why did he kick a 52-yarder? Why did he kick a 46-yarder? Like, what? I am a big Frank Reich fan, big Chris Ballard fan. I think that duo, Ballard and Reich, honestly, Joey, I'd put in the top 5-ish, 7-ish, whatever, GM kind of head coach combinations when you look forward. I think they have a lot of great core beliefs about them that make me think they can be successful moving forward. Yet, I feel like they've been roofied when handling this kicking situation.
Yeah.
Like, they are making decisions at 3 a.m. on a Saturday night of Little 5 week that I'm so used to them making, like, very coherent, very smart decisions, you know, at 10 a.m. getting ready for a final. Like, what in the world? How they've handled this kicking operation, it's just, it goes against some of their core beliefs, and it goes against logic. Like, wait, the 46-year-old kicker is hurt in warmups? So in the first quarter, let's attempt 2 50-yard-plus field goals.
Makes sense.
What in the world is going on? I mean, I don't know if you just go for it then every time. Do you do what Tennessee did and kind of have Ryan Suckup only out there for 40-yard field goals and in, and Rigoberto kicks longer field goals? Like, this whole thing just makes you want to bash your head through a window, dude. Like, what is going on? So, we'll see, man. Chase McLaughlin, come on down. Your opening act at Ruoff Home Mortgage Center next year. It's such a millennial name, Chase McLaughlin.
It does sound like something that would show up on Hank
right?
FM. Yeah.
You know, Hank FM. He's playing at Tin Roof maybe tomorrow night. I don't know,
For
but
sure.
he's in the building. He's on your 53-man roster. This is a name we've mentioned before on this very podcast. He worked out for the Colts back in Week 3, and let's remember, throughout this process, the Colts have made it pretty clear. They maybe haven't said this publicly, but, you know, behind the scenes, they pretty much have. They don't like what's out there on the kicking market. That's why they've held on to Vinatieri as long as they have.
Sure.
Well, Chase McLaughlin, he really hasn't been out there for that long. Yes, you had your chance in week 3. You could have made a move then. But he's now kicked 7 games for the Chargers and 49ers. He got nabbed up pretty quickly. His resume, he's an undrafted free agent out of Illinois. He is half the age of Adam Vinatieri. He's 23. Adam Vinatieri will turn 47 here in a few weeks. He was in Buffalo during the preseason. He was perfect in the preseason. He is perfect on extra points this season, 15 of 15. He's 13 of 17 on field goals.
What are the misses?
The bad miss. Remember the bad miss? San Francisco, Seattle,
Monday
Monday night.
Wasn't that essentially an extra point? I mean, it was pretty close.
Yeah,
right?
It wasn't like 55 or anything like that. That was the duck hook that just, oh man, it went in the tunnel.
Yeah,
it was so bad. Now he did make one to get them, I think, into overtime, if I'm not mistaken, in that game. So I'm not sure how long those misses, but 13 of 17 equals 76%. Vinatieri is 17 of 25 on field goals. That's 68%. Obviously, you look at the extra points. 100% for McLaughlin, 15 of 15. Vinatieri is 22 of 28 for 78% on extra points. So those are the comparable numbers. I think Ian Rappaport tweeted last night the Bills and Patriots also put in waiver claims for him. So he was pretty sought after.
Weird the Patriots have had so much issues with
had like 19 kickers this year. And the Bills, that was who he was with in the preseason. Steven Hauschka, I believe, is their kicker. So the Colts, if nothing else, if this is only for insurance purposes, if Vinatieri might not kick on Sunday, okay. But this is a great move by the Colts for the long term. I'm a big fan of this move. Like, this is what teams should do in the month of December that aren't sure if they're going to make the playoffs. Have one eye looking ahead to the future.
Okay.
Remember a few years ago? This was Clipboard Jesus, Matt Hasselbeck years ago.
Yeah.
The Colts claimed Stephen Morris late in that season. Stephen Morris was claimed not to be a quarterback for this team that year. He was claimed with one eye looking towards the future. That is what this Chase McLaughlin move is. Yes, you might need him right now, but also he's a 23-year-old kicker that's I think he's under a very reasonable contract next season. Like, he's your guy.
Yep. Moving
forward, maybe for, we could be looking at the next kicker for the Colts for the next 10 years.
Wow.
Like, that, I think that's a very real possibility. So, we'll see what plays out today in the next 48 hours, but I think it's a fair question to ask, is the last image of Adam Vinatieri in a Colts uniform the block field goal?
You'd hate to see it.
Such a sour end to a first ballot Hall of Fame career in my mind. He's one of the greatest players in NFL history, regardless of position. It's funny. Yesterday, I asked Frank Reich, remember how I promised people I would ask the question about, do the misses on field goals and extra points impact your decision-making on fourth down? Like, does that influence analytics? And Reich said yes, it has. I mean, it has made them slightly more aggressive.
Can't believe he admitted that just openly like that.
Yes, I appreciate some of the candor for sure. But again, hearing that I'm like, wait, why was Vinny attempting 50-yard plus field goals if he's getting hurt in warm-ups?
What were those situations? What was the down and distance on those fourth downs? Do you remember?
One of them was long. One of them was like a 4th and 12. The other one was the 4th and 1, in which Ryan Kelly had the false start, and you became 4th and 6. Now, 4th and 6, I still think is reasonable to go for it. Like, that isn't that far-fetched to me.
Yeah, that's medium.
But yeah, man, this soap opera of a story continues. It sounds like, Vinny wanted to test it out this week. Doesn't appear to have gone great in practice on Wednesday. Now, to put in a waiver claim, they would have to put in this waiver claim, on Tuesday. So they made this decision before Vinatieri, exits practice early on Wednesday. And, I mean, right now, again, there's a possibility that we've seen the last of Adam Vinatieri in a Colts uniform.
Tough pill to swallow on a Thursday, for sure. Definitely. You wrote about this, but I posted it on the fans' social media, and I just said, the injury bug has really bitten the Colts wide receivers badly. I mean, they got bites all over them because of how much, how many of them gone down.
My God, it's mosquito-infested bites. Can you imagine at the start of the year, Joey, And you kind of brought this up a little bit. You know, you're sitting around the campfire on July 4th and you talk to your dad about all the injuries. How about you sit down Frank Reich and Nick Sirianni and you go, make a list of 100-yard receivers you'll have this season.
Yeah.
That list would have looked like Hilton.
Yep.
Funchess.
Uh-huh.
Campbell. If I make you okay, predict more. Just guess. Maybe Ebron.
Deion Kane.
Mm-hmm. Jack Doyle having his 12 for 105 game that he, has been known to dial up.
Right.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe Nyheim Hines hits a 70-yarder in the passing game and he has a 100-yard game. Like, Hines would have been on that list. Hell, freaking Chester Rogers might have been on that list. No. Zach Pascal is the only 100-yard receiver for this football team this season. 200-yard games for Pascal. That's it. It's just been it's been unbelievable to watch all the injuries and also when these guys have been healthy. Inconsistency. I think we have to make sure that we mention both of those.
Yeah.
Hilton has missed 5 games. That's extremely notable. But T.Y. Hilton hasn't had a 100-yard game this season. Look at Paris Campbell. Yes, he's missed a handful of games. But Paris Campbell has, I think coming into Sunday, he had the smallest yards per reception of any wideout or tight end. And we expected big play, Paris Campbell. And then obviously the Deion Kane issue as well. So this has been a mix, with Chester now on IR. Maybe it's more Nyheim Hines. Listen to T.Y. Hilton yesterday. I think it's a real possibility he can miss the rest of this season. And if I'm Frank Reich and the Colts lose on Sunday, I almost go up to T.Y. Hilton next week and just be like, dude, no one is questioning your ability to play through injuries.
Shut her down.
Look what you did last year for this football team. Mm-hmm. That was unbelievable. Go ahead. Go play golf with Eric Ebron down in Houston or whatever you want to do during the offseason. That's kind of how I would approach things, almost with Hilton. So, Hilton said kind of a mysterious thing of it's not a calf, it's not a pulled muscle in the calf. He's like, I'll share more after the season ends. So I don't know does that mean, nervous about an Achilles? I don't know what you're kind of nervous. He didn't say surgery was needed, but there's a little bit more to this story with Hilton. I'm sure everyone saw the Colts promoted Chad Williams from the practice squad, did not sign Dontrell Inman. And, similar to the Chase McLaughlin move, I'm good with it. Dontrell Inman's 30 years old.
Yeah.
We kind of know what Dontrell Inman is.
Slapping a band. It's that meme where the water is flowing and the guy just has a Band-Aid slapping it on.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Perfect analogy there. If this is March, April, I probably would have been more on the Inman train. Mm-hmm. It's week 14. Chad Williams, a former third-round pick? Why not? See what you got. See if there's something there for a 24-year-old. And a lot of people have asked me about Inman. What I know about this situation is this, and he did work out for the Colts on Tuesday. Basically, the Colts offered him back in the spring with the caveat of, hey, if we draft a wideout early, that offer's gone. They draft a wideout early after signing, obviously, Devin Funchess.
Yeah.
Inman kind of calls back and is like, hey, that offer's still there? And they're like,
nope.
Remember what we told you?
Paris Campbell.
So that's how things went down there. And, Colts healthy wideouts right now. We'll see if Paris Campbell gets back. I think there's a possibility of that. But, it has been an unbelievable season in that position group.
Chris Ballard was on our airwaves on Monday. It's like he does after every fourth game, right? Every quarter of the season.
Quarterly updates.
He comes on, Chris Ballard does, and then talks with Matt Taylor. What did you take away from his conversation?
Yeah, for any of those that missed that, 1075thefan.com has a notebook recap of that. First thing, he loves how bright the future is on the defensive side of the ball. He feels like there is a chance to create something special there. And I do think there are a lot of really, really nice building blocks over there. Ben Banigou is a name we probably haven't talked about enough. He's kind of come on a little bit here as of late.
After training camp, we were kind of like,
right.
He fell off.
And obviously the Kamoko Toure injury has opened the door for a little bit of playing time. But again, if you can develop Toure, develop Banogu, I still think you need to draft a defensive tackle relatively early next season. Tyquan Lewis has had an extremely underwhelming season when he's been on the field. Great playmaking from the linebackers. Bobby Okereke has come on. Marvell Tell has made some nice plays as well. So Ballard loves that. His quote about Devin Funchess was this: "We had big expectations for Devin, especially after training camp, seeing what his big frame and skill set was going to do for our offense, and then playing well in the first game versus the Chargers. And I give Devin a lot of credit. He really bought into everything we were doing here. He's a good teammate. He works. It's a shame that it's worked out the way that it has. You never know what the future is going to hold, but we were very pleased with who he was as a person and teammate here over the last few months." You read anything into that, Joey, as far as 2020 Devin Funchess free agency?
Sounds like a nice farewell letter.
Yeah.
Hey, the email. We appreciate him. We wish him well on his next journey.
Yeah. Right. Not as maybe as endorsing as a comment you'd make about Eric Ebron, but not like a press release quote you'd have about Adam Vinatieri either. That's kind of where I put it. So, I'm not going to like slam the door shut and be like, there's no chance Devin Funchess comes back. I probably lean towards him not coming back, but I think the Colts got to look at what's out there in free agency, and they got to feel like, okay, can you find the right body type? You are getting to the point now, Joey, too, where I think you have to think about this. If and when you're going to trade up for a quarterback, or I shouldn't say when, if you're going to trade up for a quarterback and mortgage some draft capital, does that mean you need to spend more in free agency at other positions? Now,
probably.
That seems logical, I think, to a lot of people, but to Chris Ballard, he might not be all in on that idea. So that's where I kind of think to myself, all right, do you try and develop Campbell, hope Reese Fountain gets healthy and can produce for you? Those are kind of your young wideouts. Then you re-sign Funchess, who still is pretty young, and then find another wideout in free agency. Now, with Hilton having the injury situation, who knows? But that's just why I'm not gonna quite slam it shut just yet on Devin Funchess. And then lastly, I think some people asked about Mo Alley Cox, and he actually broke his thumb against Jacksonville. Ballard mentioned that. They believe that he'll be able to at least be a little bit more comfortable catching the football moving forward, and the Colts will give him some targets in the passing game. I don't think he was targeted against Tennessee, so he could help out in the Eric Ebron department as well. But again, for anybody that missed that, head to 1075thefan.com for an update there from Chris Ballard.
All right, man, you want to do a few Twitter questions before we head into the weekend?
You bet.
All right, let's start with Steve. He says, good question for your next pod. Here we go. We've all heard the top 20 quarterback remarks, but what do Reich, Irsay, and Ballard really think of Jacoby? It scares me to death to think that they truly see him as a high-level quarterback in the league.
Well, to be honest, Steve, I mean, those top 20 quarterbacks, their comments, they're coming from Reich, and I even think Ballard threw that out there. Maybe not as often as Reich has, but they are coming from those decision makers. Now, we haven't heard those comments, and to be honest, no one's really asked them direct questions like that, since about September or August when Andrew Luck decided to say sayonara. So, that I feel like you have to factor in. There is, as I've started to do more and more research, about Jacoby Brissett and diving deeper into, questions that we got on Monday's podcast about what traits we look for future quarterbacks. There are stats that I look at current quarterbacks, and that helps me evaluate, I think, of where you would rank them on tiers. And a stat that I come back to a lot is success in the fourth quarter. And how does a quarterback play in the most pressure-packed situations of a game? And as I looked into Jacoby's numbers, it was a trend we saw in 2017, and now it's a trend that we've seen again this season. His passer rate in the fourth quarter is extremely low compared to the rest of the league. Here are some of those numbers, Joey. In 2019, his passer rate in the first quarter, 122.6.
That is outstanding. That is Pro Bowl level.
Yeah.
What happens in the first quarter of games?
You got scripts.
Right there. Yeah. Scripts. I mean, it's scripted. You have the first 20 plays scripted.
Yeah.
His passer rating in the second quarter, 84.5. His passer rating in the third quarter, 100.8. Again, pretty good. In the fourth quarter, 76.9. His passer rating in the fourth quarter when the game is within 7, 62.5.
Interesting.
You look at 2017, his passer rating, again, early in games, 88, 92, 96 through the first three quarters. That's respectable considering all the chaos around him back in 2017. And then in the fourth quarter, 63. You know, you talk about the scripted stuff, and then you talk about the pressure-packed situations of a fourth quarter. I don't know how you can't look at those numbers and not be concerned.
Yeah.
That's such a critical element. That third down, where he's been pretty good. Red zone, the Colts haven't been bad. I mean, there are other situational stuff to factor in, but the fourth quarter means everything. I mean, I don't want to get into the 2017 numbers of how bad the Colts were in the fourth quarter, because I think a lot of that was on coaching staff. But, I mean, here lately, you've lost some fourth quarter leads, especially in the last couple of weeks. And, you know, I will repeat myself a lot over the next 4 or 5 months, but this is me reiterating how we have to evaluate quarterbacks. The Colts want a standard of elite level football. That means that the Colts have the opportunity, and they do have the opportunity, to go out and try and find an elite quarterback. They need to exhaust every resource in trying to find that. Because a 67 or a whatever quarterback rating he has in the fourth quarter, that's not going to get you 11, 12 win seasons and runs into the month of January. And you look so often at, we have, unfairly or fairly, we have to compare Jacoby Brissett to the elite level quarterbacks, because that's how the Colts have to evaluate it this season. Can he be elite? That's the question this season. You look at Andrew Luck last year in the fourth quarter. Passer rating, 106.4. When the game is within 7 points, passer rating, 106.5. Those stats mean a lot to me. And so that's why I get back to, for those asking me, and I constantly get the questions, you know, why are you down on Brissett? Why are you, he's got all these injuries around him. I will acknowledge those injuries, but these numbers are still numbers we have to look at.
Yeah.
Because we're making a critical evaluation here at the most important position on your roster. And I think deep down, going back to Steve's question, I think Ballard and Reich will look at that. And I don't know how they can turn their head and not invest something of note into the quarterback position come April.
Chad wants to know, does the lack of adjustments to the kicking game have you worried the front office may not be willing to make changes in areas of need this offseason, like believing in Jacoby, too much to look at draft options or the wide receiver depth?
You know, it's a good question, and I think it's a fair question, and I want to believe that there's evidence that outweighs just what we've seen here with Vinatieri and what we've seen here, mostly with Vinatieri. I don't want to go on like, I'm fine with the Colts giving Jacoby Brissett a 2-year deal. I'm fine with that. Like, and wideout-wise, I mean, they still invested a lot in a receiver last year. I mean, Funchess in a 10-year contract and Paris Campbell's a second-round pick, that's a lot. Just because it didn't work out doesn't mean that they didn't invest a lot. So I'm not ready to go there. They love Jacoby Brissett. It's one thing to love your Hall of Fame kicker and let him ride out his 24th season, as much as I disagree with that and much as I think that's just incredible amount of malpractice by the Colts. It's another thing to be like, Jacoby, man, we love you. You are tough. You are a leader. Here's $150 million in 5 years.
Sure.
So I don't think we will see the same thing. And if we do see the same thing, boy, it's going to be a long year on Kevin's Corner.
From Blaze, I know it's too late for questions. No, it's not. But do you think that the Colts have any interest in Dontrell Inman now?
So, Blaze, obviously, we touched on that a little bit earlier. Thank you for the question. Clearly, his workout on Tuesday did not lead to it. And like I said, I'm good with it. Let's see the younger guys.
Yeah.
To a degree. I'm not like staying on the table for Chad Kelly just yet. I'm here down the stretch, but yeah, that kind of explained the whole Inman thing.
From Juan, would you cut all wide receivers besides Pascal and Hilton? Would you give Brissett next year with new weapons and a healthy offense to see if he can show development? Doesn't mean you won't draft another QB, but still. And then after you let him go if he stays playing average.
No, not at all, Juan. I'm not cutting Paris Campbell. I'm not cutting Zach he mentioned Pascal. I'm not cutting Reese Fountain. You know, you want to see what you have in some of these young guys.
Yeah.
Campbell being more so than other. You need reinforcements at wideout for sure, but yeah, in no way, shape, or form am I just cleaning house out at wideout.
Tyler, he says, honest question here. Could the Colts put Naheem at the wide receiver position? Maybe a slot type of guy. This is insane that I even have to ask this, but what other options do we have?
Tyler asked that?
Yeah.
Very fair question, Tyler. And, Frank Reich mentioned, or I think maybe it was Nick Sirianni mentioned, yeah, we are going to use Nyheim Hines a little bit more with Chester Rogers going out. But then all of a sudden, Marlon Mack's hurt. Like, you can't. And now maybe Mack gets back this week. He practiced yesterday. We will see on that. If he follows the Paris Campbell script, it's no guarantee that he plays on Sunday. So I think they will expand the role for Hines, Joey, but I don't think you want to overload him too much.
Last one here from Nate. Where has Mo Alley Cox been? I thought he was primed to have a breakout year/game at any point. Cox had no targets with Ebron out. What gives?
So we touched on the thumb thing. Having said that, Joey, I think these final 4 games are huge for Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah.
When you talk about future at tight end and the sort of resources you need to invest there, and throw Ross Travis into this group as well. If they can show you something, maybe the Colts believe in them a little bit more and kind of send a message, of similar to kind of the message they were sending to Kamoko Ture last offseason.
Yeah.
Ture ends his rookie season poorly last year. The Colts don't draft a D end at all. And then Ture had a nice start to the year. So do we see a similar message sent? Obviously, it's different. A second-round pick versus Mo Alley Cox, an undrafted free agent, former college basketball player at VCU. But, yeah, I think it's a big last 4 games for him.
That's it on Twitter questions.
Cool.
Yeah.
All
right, you want to do keys to the game? Let's hear it. 3 keys for the Colts in Tampa Bay. What we got?
Let's do it, man. For those of you still believing in playoffs, that's okay. Article up on 1075thefan.com detailing that. In short, pretty much have to go 4-0.
Yep.
Multiple losses by your Steelers, multiple losses by the Titans, and Oakland losing 1 game. You can't officially be eliminated with a loss, but your playoff odds can be like a size of a sprinkle with a loss. So that's how that looks. But Bucks and Colts on Sunday afternoon down in Raymond James Stadium. Number 1 key to me is attacking at the moment of truth. And I use that phrase a lot when talking about deep balls down the field, 50-50 balls. Who comes down with it? Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. If you drafted Chris Godwin in fantasy, good job.
Yeah.
You're probably playing. I'm not. I'm in 3 fantasy. I know nothing about fantasy football. I'm in 3 leagues. How many playoffs did I make in those 3 leagues?
I'm going to go none. Yeah.
One of the leagues, 8 of 10 teams make the playoffs.
Oh, a football guy. Football guy knows can't make the playoffs.
Dude, it's so funny. I am not like football. Like I'm in a group text in one of the fantasy leagues. Like they're texting things I don't even know. Like, yes, I hopefully know a lot about the Colts, and I usually know a good amount about their opponent that week. But I don't follow the freaking Bears.
The waiver wire.
No. Yeah, I'm like, hey, if Marlon Mack's hurt, like I kind of know what to do, but I really
people are wild with the waiver wire, man.
Oh my God, it's crazy. So, anyways, attack of the moment of truth. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, probably the best receiver duo in the NFL this season. Big playability. Malik Hooker has got to be foaming at the mouth for this game because Jameis Winston is Santa come early. He will give you opportunities to make plays. Mix your coverages. Have to disrupt the timing. It's certainly that's probably the biggest key is how you affect the quarterback. But like we saw in the first half on Sunday, set up some short fields for an offense that will still be missing several key players. Number 2, win strength versus strength. That is the 4th best rushing attack in the NFL against the 2nd best rush defense. Some people might not know a lot of Buccaneer defenders' names. Their front 7 is pretty good.
Yeah.
We're talking Vita Vea,
Yeah, first
the
round
guy the
pick.
Colts liked, and Ndamukong Suh.
Wow, forgot about that.
Shaquille Barrett comes over from Denver. He leads the league in sacks this season, a
Yeah.
1-year contract. At linebacker, Devin White. Remember, Quentin Nelson, Devin White gift from college. I got to pull that up now that I think about it this week.
That's wild. That was him. Forgot about that.
And Levante David. I mean, that's notable to me in the front seven. Then you obviously have Todd Bowles, their defensive coordinator, stop the run every place he's been, and then a lot of pressure packages in terms of one safety, no safety. So the Colts have not handled the blitz well lately, but the main thing is win the strength versus strength, your run game versus their run defense. Lastly, who wants it more? If you think the Colts have small playoff chances, go look at the Bucs.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-7. Their playoff chances are like beyond minuscule, but they officially aren't eliminated. They have won 2 in a row though. I think they've won 3 or 4. So just kind of who's feeling it more in the sort of, all right, we still have something to play for mindset.
Yeah.
Because this is Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta game. This is not,
Right.
No one's keeping an eye on this game. You look at the coverage map, it's the 317 area code and the Tampa area code. That's about it. So
does Bruce Arians' old tie with the Colts play any sort of role at all? I know it's a new regime, it's a new era, but still Mr. Irsay. I mean,
yeah, maybe a hair just because Bruce is such a. I mean,
he'll use anything to.
Yeah, I mean he's BA. It's the badass term for a reason. Now I remember in 2013 the Colts went out to Arizona, got their doors blown off by Bruce Arians in that first meeting. So I don't think a whole lot, but I mean, deep down, Bruce Arians, he's going to find motivation in any way, shape, or form. And I mean, hell, it's not like the Colts did him wrong. The Colts promoted him to interim, and got his first ever head coaching job because of that opportunity. So I'm gonna go Bucks 27-23.
Wow.
In this one, I just don't think the Colts can score. And I know I'm giving them 23. That might be generous. I'm giving them 23 with the thinking that the defense might actually score, or the defense might give them
really short field.
Really short field. So the Bucks are favored by 3. Too many issues on offense to get in a shootout with Jameis Winston.
That's tough to believe, that sentence right there. But it's true with the state of the receivers right now.
I was going to say, man, it's something I never would have thought to say at the start of the year. When you kind of looked at this in-game stretch, you kind of felt like, oh, Tampa's that one road game you could maybe sneak. And certainly you can still win it. It's kind of a coin flip game. But Tampa's played better as of late, and the Colts are reeling, to say the least. So
does Chase McLaughlin make a kick on Sunday?
I'll say yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay.
I don't know. Just the fact that the Colts have had a bad history this year and guys getting hurt in Wednesday practices and it not being good. So that's where I go off of. But again, stay tuned to 1075thefan.com. We'll have a lot more on Adam Vinatieri and all of that happens. We'll be back Monday morning, recapping the Bucs game. Obviously, talking a little Vinatieri and seeing what happens with the Saints, because Colts are on Monday Night Football next week. Anything for you, Joey?
Nope, that's all.
All right, man. He's Joey Molinaro. Steelers have got the Cardinals on Sunday, I believe.
4:25
in Arizona. Big game for the Colts to watch as well. And everyone have a great weekend, and we'll be back Monday morning. Thanks for listening to Kevin's Corner. This has been Kevin Bowen. Thank you for listening to another edition of Kevin's Corner. If you haven't already, subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher for the best Colts and Pacers coverage.